Greetings and welcome forward to Reasons Right at the Trail Life. I'm your host, the Great Owl, in the presence of my co-host, Brother Ramon Singh. Perfect Love. Perfect Love 2022. Brother Singh, how is the vibe 2022 and looking forward and beyond, and also introduce our offering today?
Yeah, boy, always giving thanks, moving forward, doing the most I works, doing His will always, so God is good, good health
Absolutely.
and strength. We always have to give thanks for many things, Father always provide, you
Always.
know. So moving forward, doing the most I works, there's a time for everything, and now is the time for works.
Now is the time for works. So what is today's offering, Brother Singh?
Yeah, man, patient love.
Patient love. I mean, it's a nice cameo. Patience and love appearing as themselves. So, how do we get to that patient love or patience in love?
Yeah, man, one of the characteristics of love is to practice patience according to the Bible. The Bible's definition of love. Remember, love is patient.
Yes.
That's the first thing
I
God
was gonna
said.
say yes.
Love is patient. Love is kindness. Love does not envy. Love does not boast. You know? And it go on, but the first thing God said, love is patient. you know? So we have to think and say, no man, patience, it don't never really thinks of patience have to do with love, It don't thinks of patience is patience, but in order to practice patience, you need love. So that is a characteristic of love. It's patience.
Wow.
You see me? So to be patient with people who them know godly, them of the world. We have to go around people like these many times, daily, and
True.
we can't just think and say, everybody should act like me or everybody should be holy. The reality of the situation is, the reality of the situation is, everybody is different.
True that.
You see me? Everybody thinks different. And not everybody is practicing true love according to
Absolutely.
the Bible.
Absolutely.
And not everybody are Christian. I say, oh, them are practice Bible. And if them are Christian, them not practice it. Most people say them godly or angelic, and they are not. You see, we are simple, even we.
Yeah.
We are not angelic or godly at times. Because
Absolutely.
what? We are grow same way.
Yes.
You see me? We are still, but we are the children of God.
Yes.
So we should act the way, act the part.
Yes.
God is godly, So you have to be like God, not in terms of I am high and mighty, but in terms of being humble and wise and patient. Practice love, kindness, humility.
Absolutely.
Humble yourself and
Absolutely.
wise,
Those are some of the better characteristics of the Most High. Because even looking at patience, most times what we call the opposite of patience shows the power of patience, which is a lot of tension and anxiety, anxiousness, right? And anxious behaviors have been codified over the years all the way down in psychosis to become depression, right? And a whole lot of neuroses are caused by anxious behavior that people cannot stay properly in a moment to be able to process something. So when you're anxious and you are introduced through your anxiety to patience, which is to take a moment and to calm down, take several deep breaths, relaxing through that process of taking those deep breaths, calming your inner soul, you find that the aggression, the frustration, the increased stressful tension is sometimes almost completely obliterated, and a calm ensues and a calmity of spirit, which adds in functionality. So let's say, for instance, you were very confused or angry about something and was acting anxiously because of such, you know, frustration or improper processes, right? When you really get into the meat, the essence of patience, you realize that all of that you were stressing about, you could not create solutions during the times when you were stressing, during the times when you were anxious, during the times when you were aggressive. There were no solutions you could foster. There was short-sightedness, improper calculations. But as soon as you're able to find your way into the essence of patience, to relax, to take a breath, take a step back, assess things a little bit more, instead of just rushing to a quick conclusion and saying, oh, that's the way it is, that's it, so this is the solution. Assessing it properly, carefully. These things are rendered especially magnificent through patience, because you actually have the calmness in your spirit to see yourself, the situation, and whatever is impeding the movement of like that goodness through the situation. So I can see patience beneficial in the essence of the constructing of a loving kind of experience and relationship, just generally.
Yeah, I like that point where you say assess the situation, and we just say assess it with the mind of God, not with our mind and worldly mind and faulty mind, but with the mind of Christ, like how Christ would have deal with the situation. You know, how God said we should deal with these type of situations.
Yes.
You know, we are not to be quick to anger. You know, soft answer, turn it away, right? And you know, so we have to think quickly with the mind of God.
Absolutely.
You see me? Because as soon as we start, as soon as somebody anger us, or we see them unworthy or whatever, you know, I have to think quick with the mind of God and say, no man, I have to be patient with this person because them just, as what Christ would have said, forgive them. They know not what they do. You see me? If a man just don't know better, you know, him could have know better, you know, but it's just saw him stay. And I saw him always, I got go on and do him thing. You can't say why him not and get angry. All the time you get angry at this person and you know see I saw them stay. You know? So you have to be patient and say and show them the right actions. So you will not get angry with them. You will be the calm one in the situation, and you act Christ-like in the situation. How Christ would have deal with the situation.
Absolutely. I mean that is the key right there. It's easy to get angry, like you say. I mean, to just be upset with something that don't go our way. But then when you really get back to the essence, it's not worth losing your whole peace over. Especially that circumstances and situations change so much that there's so much transience to human life. There's few and a small essence of anything permanent. Anything permanent is in the eternal spirit of the Most High. And everything else is temporal. So it's like the greatest ambition, pursuits, beliefs, attitudes we have will disappear or will be proven incorrect. So to hold on to them and the anxiety they carry is not worth it. So it's far more patient to not just have a belief, but live it. See it become the value of what it is. So if you're truly growing in the spirit of the Hamashiach, one of the things that will come up more than just a belief in the Hamashiach, as you're saying, that temperance, I mean a deference, there are come through patience, which is leading towards loving outcomes, because ultimately, if you say somebody is loving, then usually that person is a little bit patient with you, kind with you, long-suffering with you, because how else would love have expressed itself? It's more than just affectionate experience, it is principled experience. And I'm not thinking that the only principle within love is patience, because there is the kindness, there's the long-suffering, you understand me? There's other things to it that tantamounts to a loving outcome. But patient love is about, I would say, as much of your own state of mind as it is about anybody else's. As much of the faith as you can activate within your life as anything else. So if you can activate that deep, like my previous self would refer to it as that old time kind of religion. And some people might not like that, but what I mean is the old time kind of religion was called that because the people who were practicing it mostly in our regard was impoverished or poor or very low on the economic scale. So you would pass by a community temple church and you'd hear that euphoric sounds of passion, acclamation through salvation, just letting go of the burdens and rejoicing. And so that old time kind of religion was a patient life where they weren't celebrating because they had material temperaments to be aggressive and moody and short-tempered. They had the true spirit, the pure energy, which is the only thing that could have satisfied considering they didn't have the material. So that expression, it made them more loving. Because ultimately, not I'm saying poverty makes you more loving, I'm just saying of the condition of how I see the old time religion as an example of patient love. It's like, what else could they have done but to rally together, but to be kind and understanding with each other, yeah? To be patient with each other. And so when they're there on the Sunday morning and the Wednesday evening, chanting and singing, that fervence is what caused us, a lot of us, to be here today. Because it made them want to be more than their conditions spoke of. Brother Singh.
Yeah, man, a true man, the old generation, grandparents. Well, me remember my grandfather. He was a pastor. And this man practiced, and this man practiced what the Bible preach. You know? This man was a highly respected man in his community and the church. You see me? When them man there preach, everybody want to go and hear him sermon, you know?
Totally.
Them man they wake up every morning. Remember when me used to visit him on holidays? And early in the morning before sun come up, and in Manchester it well cold, you know.
Tell me about
You know? So we wake up cool and him light up him little lamp. Cause sun no come up yet, you know, and them a read the Bible. Everybody upon them knees.
Haba.
You know? So this is it's like a mystic experience to me. Although when we look at it now, it look mystic, you know. But at the time as a child, I used to say, oh boy, you know, we have to go get up early and, you know, because it's not a ritual what me used to. When I used to this experience, but you know, there's something, that discipline there, every single morning, 5 o'clock, everybody have to wake up, gone on them knees and I read Bible. Everybody read a little passage and then him pray and then we bless the day and then start the day. Grandmother gone to the kitchen, start do the tea, you know, start make pig food because grandpa a goat, you know, because he was a farmer as well, you know. So he start go out and feed the animals, the goats, tie them out and move the cow and milk the cow.
Wow.
It's a morning ritual.
Full homestead life, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And it's a life what me admire and say, I would like to live a life like that, you know?
Wow. You know, it's like I didn't grow up with my grandfather, so I didn't have this wonderful gift. I hear my eldest brother, he would speak the way you're speaking about our grandfather. And what brings tears to his eyes is like he's always saying, sometimes when I'm speaking, I remind him, Haba, of grandfather. Because grandfather's fervence of spirit to always remind us, right? And remind them of the experience and just being a shelter, not just for his family, but for the community, because you know, grandpa donated a piece of his land, you know, for the church. And so we basically built the church in our community, right? And the church is still there, you know. And I mean, I go there when I'm down. And when my father passed, you know, I was down there, and just revisiting the family plot, you know, of my grandfather, my great grandfather and great grandmother, and my grandfather and grandmother, and now my father. You know, I don't want to say this with a heavy heart, but something about family a lot of times has been missing in not just mine, but a lot of our experience. And when I mean family and the experience of it, obviously we're in our families. Talking about the value, like stuff that, like you're talking about, that if my father and my mother had their thing together in the right way, like grandpa and grandma, then certain principles wouldn't take 20 and 30 years to be self-learned, because those lack of interaction created a loss in behaviors in myself. So the generational or the parental gene in psychology, or epigenetics, in some essence, prove that, you know, you either benefit or not benefit from the experience of your ancestors, your progeny, right? So not having that as a foundation stone has robbed a lot of people of patience. Be that as it may, some of our parents at some points retain some of the good principles of patient love, or patience in love, where sometimes we do things as children that our parents would rather scold us for. And in not scolding us, they have not made us spoil, but they have shown us a compassion beyond just the idea that discipline comes with a pain. Because that's another thing about things, that we have families, because of our hardships of economic conditions, who would not spare the rod. But they're sometimes a little bit too much in corporal punishment, right? And as such, just to show some compassion, just a patience to realize that even though you're saying the child should know better, the child has erred, and you can see that there is that potential that your child can become better. You see yourself in them. You see every human that's ever been in them, everyone that has been through everything and has come out of it. Then you know for that second, you should exercise some patience with your children, with your child, with your children, with your family, with your community, with your loved ones. That is a necessary part of loving them. It's not about, oh, I have provided a home, or the situations that are necessary to say, you can see I love you, you're fed, you're clothed, you're sheltered. You got a car, we got a car. We got the means by which we can advance economically. It's not just to say this, it's to have the harmony of it. That in this home, there's respect and understanding. There is a difference. When there's conflicts, there's a way to resolve them. Because I love the other person who has erred. And because I love the other person who has made this mistake, then I can be patient with them. And by extension, you can take that out into the greater community. If we have a little bit more self-love in the faith, as how Christ had taught us to love our neighbors as we love ourselves, which is a ubiquitous principle, right? To do unto others as you have them do unto you. So there is this patience and kindness and understanding and favor extended in collective or communal or community-based interaction. Brother Singh.
Yeah, man, and you have some mean people out there, evil people, but that them just think evil continuously, you know, especially through music, but we don't get into that, you know.
Yeah.
But you have some people, their mind just set on evil, set on bad mind, set on envy, set on jealousy, you know, and you have to deal with them on a daily basis, you know. And at that, we just have to just still practice the patience with them and know that, Father, we know, say, I just saw them stay right now. And sometimes we need to just pass on a little good word, you know? Because you have this youth, you know, come to me, ask me for money. But me know this man, him usually sell banana chips and snacks and make him little hustle. So I say, yo, Fire, how you start beg money now? You never used to do your hustle, man. I'm going to say, look around. I'm going to say, point out everybody in this space. Everybody here is a hustler, except you. Because you're a beggar. Everybody else here is a hustler. They might hustle to make a living. They might make moves and a work.
Yes.
So I say, give me $500 for you. I say, I no have not. I can't give you. So I say, so people who out there hustle hard, you gonna just expect them to just take out 5 bills give you, so? And them hustle so hard I sell for them banana chips. I do what them need to do, to make for them money. And you for just come and beg it out of them pockets, so? And you never do nothing to earn it. You see me?
Sorts, for real.
So the next time I see him, I see him with a big box on his shoulder. Banana chips. And say, you are the boss, you know? I'm boss, you know? The man a big up me and I say, oh boy, you know, embarrassed. And I say, John, why this man allowed me? You know? But he must say, no man, what you said to me the other day changed my life. Come here, think and say, no man, I need to hustle for sure. And he comes and take out and show me money. I say, see me have money here.
Yes.
Me have money for myself.
Efforts, man.
You see me?
Value for
Him
value.
no need for beg money and feel shame and people are turn him away. Him just hustle. He just hustle.
Yes.
Go sell him chips and juice and see him come with a pile of money. And I say, see you have your money there now, man.
Yes.
And the man say, respect, man. You know?
Improve him state of mind. Just hear a good word. Somebody extend enough care. Because, you know, this staying is easy. You can just say, you know, I don't like what you're doing. You've taken on a property value, you know. You make it bad for others around here as disdain. But you gave encouragement. You gave a word that is, I would say, a seed of value. And that seed was planted, you know, and nurtured by the Most High.
True.
You were just his hand servant to deliver it. And so are his mouthpiece. And so that being delivered, I mean, planted, implanted, it's the same concept, into this person's subconscious, their psyche, and the Most High waters it. The changes is just natural. That seed will grow into understanding. But if it was disdain that you were projecting, what would happen is a person in that situation would reject your word, reject the seed, and reinforce their condition in which they're in, and by saying it is so people like uno go on, or feel like uno better than people, right? And certain things, because that's a rejection of the word that is a word of value. These things is an expression of a loving nature, patient enough to give a word that is of value versus just saying some aggressive, hurtful, fleeting commentary.
True.
You know, again, patient, love, patience in love. Love is patient. It's kind, long-suffering. It is not jealous nor boastful, nor, where we'd say, prideful. So there is something in that. When you're going through life, when you're learning, again, the differences, like you say, of people and their behaviors, and then you got to interact with them on a daily basis. It does show something of your understanding, you know, how you how you navigate that. So not all of us are understanding, but at the same time, this is where the faith comes in. Most times we would have run into roadblocks ourselves and would have asked for guidance or needed more guidance than we were humanly creating. So when you're in that situation where you're not patient, you're not kind, you're not long-suffering, you're not understanding anything, but you know that you've been in a very negative and suffering situation, especially as it relates to value, like literal value, maybe personal relationship, professional relationship, some mullah, some kind, caring environment, because of the lack of certain things. If you're in a situation like that and you really would want to get out of that because you've proven that it's hurtful and you know it's not benefiting you, I think this is where your patience and your own understanding of yourself comes into place. We'll call it self-examination. if you're willing to take your fears with your vulnerabilities to the Most High, to the foot of the cross in the religious language, right? To the foot of the cross. You talk to the Lord about it. You're going to see what's making you so vulnerable. And then you're going to see most times it's a whole lot of fears based upon comparative analysis that isn't working. You're comparing yourself to others and ending up vain and bitter or somewhat withdrawn and depressed or anxious because you're not measuring up to the comparison, right? If you can be honest about that as individuals, look through your faith to be empowered, not based upon outcomes now, you know. Empowered based upon input. Hear me carefully, not empowered based upon outcomes, but on input. What is the input? The input is the Spirit of the Most High God through your faith. It is what's teaching you patience. You wanna follow Christ in this world? You wanna follow the words of Yeshua in this world? You have to be patient. You're gonna have to be not boastful, not jealous, not prideful, not full of shame, not doubtful. Yeah? You're gonna have to be kind. Yeah? You're gonna have to be all those things because that's what it takes to deal with all of the divergence of oppression and rejection, yeah, and opposition. You need that. So in awakening your faith in you, looking at your own behaviors, trust me, you'll see wherein you're not patient, and you're not kind, and you're not loving. And you gotta be honest, young woman. You gotta be honest, young man, old woman. You ain't loving. You ain't kind. Hallelujah. You ain't patient. That's why you're in the situations you're in. So it's not even talking about what others are. You're not those things. And to be those things, you have to look at yourself, be vulnerable enough with yourself to admit the way that you're beating your chest and trying to force things on others is because you're very much unsure yourself. Just what happens a lot when people are unsure. They reinforce their false positions, try to hide what the true narrative is. It's okay to not understand. It's okay to not be in the most comfortable home or situation or family or community. But it's even more important to acknowledge that there is a way, a truth, and a light that can transform all of those situations if you're willing to put the work in. Just like the seasons of clearing the land, tilling the land, sowing, tending to the land, tending to the new seedlings, tending to the new growth, tending to your crop, harvesting your crop. It doesn't just go from seed, one pop, harvest. Patience. It's a developmental psychology. It's a spirit that grows in you. Brother Singh, before we segue out of here.
Yeah, and most of us who claim we are godly and angelic, we have to really pay attention to our thought life, you know, because certain things that we are thinking, saying, and doing is not of God. It is of the devil. You see me? Certain things we do to people, say to people, you know, think about people, it is not of God. You see me? And most of us guilty of it, you know, because the devil will slip in him dirty thoughts, thoughts of the world, you know? And so it's said, we have to just acknowledge the faults and know that, Father, help me to change, you know? And He might go help with change, you know?
Truly, truly.
But we have to acknowledge the thought life. Many Christians in a church, they look on the young girls and they might talk bad about them and, you know, how they might dress this and dress that and just bear bad speaking about each other in the church.
Yes.
Till the young girls say, I not even want to go to church again.
Yes.
Because anytime I go there, the old woman them come and say my skirt too short and too much earring and this and that and makeup. And then she just get deterred from the church and gone, you know? But what a true Christian will do is be patient with the person and knowing that this is how them stay, accept that, and display Christ-like characters. If you are the old lady now, you see me, wear the most beautiful of dresses that cover up everything but still look nice.
Well presented.
So the young girl look and say, oh, that is what she talking about, you know?
Exactly.
Dresses, and then she go admire the old woman now and want to get dresses like those and act like her and dress like her because she admire her. You know, so it's not fear hate on others and I am righteous and what you are doing is wrong.
Judgmental attitude, as they would say, right?
Yeah, a patience man and say, boy, you know, them don't know yet. But
True.
let us show them.
An
Other than
example.
speaking and I say, do this, do that, do that. Why not live it and show them and say, other than we say dress like this, you dress the
Yeah.
good way. Until them admire it and say, I want to dress like that too. You
And
know?
that's why I say patience in our own behaviors is essential, because even we're talking about the music before. If we're going to be criticizing the music that is bad and not do good music, it's hypocritical. Just like the ladies in the church who are the man them, who are judge the younger man them that they're not good fathers, when they're not even showing good examples of what a good father ought to be, even
True.
in a figure of speech.
True.
Even in that. And so you have a lot of older women that before they lead by the modest, well-learned example they've had in life, many of them are coalescing to the young lady's flavor and is having a competition for attention.
True.
And then they say, well, brother, because I'm not going to talk in my client's business, but some are saying like, basically, the older male's attention is gone to the fashion or the attitude of the voluptuous younger women. And as such, it is a matter of presentation. But it is a matter of presentation, which is the content within manifest without. However, that content within, in that presentation, ain't that great. That's why it was so exposed in the first place. So therefore, youthfulness does not know the depth of what is the qualities of the spirit. They know what's on the surface, what just moves them. So being more carnal or flesh absorbed or desire absorbed is younger women, is younger man. However, if you are mature, you should at least learn that in order to reach them, you have to be confident and stand in your own values and morals and ethics that you've learned through your faith. That is what's going to inspire them. Changing to their attitudes is not going to make that difference. So you have to be patient in having that confidence in yourself to continuously dress modestly. That you don't have to always say to the brother or say to the sister that maybe they're a little underdressed or improperly dressed. But by just the very nature of how you are dressed, your virtues, your values and your value system, that when they're not seeing you in the church and they're seeing you out there on the streets and you're seeing brother sing and you're seeing brother owl and you're saying you're nothing like what you're saying on there, that's when you know there's a disparity. But when they're meeting us and they're saying, yes, brother, and shout out to Dushane Williams, yeah, blessings, yeah. When they're meeting you in person and they're saying, yeah, you are that soul I see. Because you spend a moment, not even knowing this person, but they've been seeing you, what you've been presenting. And you're patient, you have that state of mind to hear them tell you a moment of their life. It doesn't have to relate back to just what your videos or what, but just to share. Just to have the moment in your life to say, tell me, you know, and listen and absorb, honestly. Proves that you are that person. You are that character. It means that what you're saying, they're more take on to it because they encountered you outside of your platform, outside of your pulpit or your great bullhorn or bulwark, whatever. They encountered you in the highways, byways and avenues and have proven that you are virtuous, have proven that you are patient, and hence within themselves, without you having to signal to them, a loving appreciation begins to develop, because that's what you call right characteristics, isn't it? And then you're going to say, you know, Brother Singh is a kind of a personality that I aspire to be like. Not to be him, you know, because that's not the case. but to be like, because we're seeing a Christ-like quality. Maybe I don't even know what it is, but you were certainly respectful. You were certainly kind. You were certainly honest, right? And even though you were at first very nasty to me, you came back and you apologized. So then I learned that you're not just a person that just say things and do not accept the responsibility of the consequences. So, you know, like stuff like that. So then you can see that there's something happening there. So you're learning from these people. And this is how I see people when they're genuinely growing in their spirituality and in their faith. So, you know, individuals out there, brothers and sisters, as we, you know, finish up this first month of 2022, I just want to implore you, Brother Singh and myself, to be patient with your closest and also the most distant. Be patient with all the experiences that you've been having and that those who are close to you are having and those that you encounter in the distance highways and byways of life. Develop that patient understanding, and believe it or not, when you are going through your awful moments, you're just having a bad day, that same patience that you have dealt with others will be of benefit, because others will likewise deal with you with patience, because it's just natural. Brother Singh, any last words? Well, closing words.
Yeah, I wanna see him perfect love, you know, every time. You know, just try and do your best. You know? Just always think first. Think first, you know? Think before we act and react. And emotions take control. If you think and say, whoa, you know, what God would have do? What Christ would have do? You know? What the Bible says we should do. And try practice that. And see how the outcome turn out, you know? Because many things in the Bible what we need for practice as Christians, you know, as followers of the Most High, the true light of this world. And many things we're supposed to practice. And you know that this person is a true follower of the Most High. You know? As them say, if you are true Christians, then you will see the true perfect love between the brotherhood, you know, in Christ. You know, so at the perfect love and patience, you know, nobody no perfect, only God alone perfect. You see me? So patience with everybody in the earth. And patience with self, you know. Sometimes self make mistakes. And we don't forgive self. We have to forgive self too and move on.
So, in essence, Brother Singh, being patient one to another, brothers and sisters, yeah? Yeah? Husbands and wives, fathers and mothers, yeah? Sons and daughters, friends, children of the Most High. Patient love, patience in love, long suffering. Until next time, this has been the Great Owl, Reasonings Right to Your Life, in the presence of my co-host, Brother Ramon Singh. One perfect love.
Perfect love.
Perfect love. A faithful love is one who shows concern. A patient love is the one who shows concern. To live your life and learn. A faithful love is the one who shows concern. A patient love is the one who shows concern. Yes, showing concern in the patience and the goodness of love.